Hello, this is Jenny from Ramblings of a Jaffa Cat, and this is my Draw My Life video. As you can see, I'm drawing my cat, which actually looks more like a pig at the moment, but hey, I'm not a brilliant artist. And I also forgot to put the pen down, so you will see it flapping about. So, to start with, this is my dad. He's called Chris. Yeah, he's not that long and thin, but you know, again, I'm not a brilliant artist. And this is my mum, she's called Sue. And they got married. They met when they were bell ringing. And yeah, they've been married for like 20, I don't know, 27 years. It's quite a lot. Anyway, they waited for 9 years before they could have me because my mum was really unwell. And she was actually told she couldn't have children. So, you know, 5 kids later, she proved them wrong. So, yeah, after 9 years of trying, along came me. I was born on the 4th of October in 1988, with probably a little bit more hair than that and not looking quite so much like an alien. So when I was born, we lived in a little place in Suffolk called Felixstowe, which is right by the seaside. I don't actually remember it at all because we moved when I was quite young, but we used to go back there for holidays a lot because my grandparents used to live there. And I would love to go back again. It's a gorgeous place. Real little seaside town with little shops, ice cream parlours, lovely. So yeah, I was a bit sad to move from there in the end. Then in 1991, on January the 12th, my little brother came along. He's called Richard. Again, I don't really remember it because I was too young at the time to know what was going on. But I've seen pictures, you know. There's me. Oh, a little bit cross-eyed, but never mind. And that's my brother, my first sibling to come along. Soon after Richard was born, we moved because my dad changed working. He started working in London and we wanted to come somewhere where the commute was a bit less. So we moved to a little town called Yateley, which is kind of on the Hampshire, Surrey, Berkshire borders. It keeps changing when they decide they want it in a different place, but it's always in, you know, it's always in the same place. They just keep moving the borders. So yeah, we moved to Hampshire. I think I was about 2. Again, I don't remember a lot of it apart from photos, but we moved to this lovely house. We're still in it now. It's got a lovely back garden that it backs onto some woodland. You'll have seen it actually in my other video when I did the garden tour. But yeah, a lovely family home with a garden at the front, a garden at the back, lots of flowers. Yeah, in a nice neighbourhood, full of families. So we lived there happily for quite a few years, and in 1993 my second brother came along, and this is David. He had loads of hair when he was born. He looked like a lion, this massive blonde mane of hair. Um, yeah, loads of hair. And he was quite cute in the end, although at the beginning he came out, his face was all scratched and everything. Then very soon after, in 1994, I was extremely happy to finally get a sister that I had always wanted. So this was Rosie. Her and David are very close in age. And she likes to spell her name with 2 I's, just to be different. So I went to a local school. Infant school was fine. I don't remember an awful lot of it, so as far as I'm aware, it was pretty happy. I had some friends, lots of nice friends. And then I went to junior school and I started getting bullied, which made me quite sad. People used to tell me that I was fat, and it really got me down. If you've ever been bullied, I'm sure you'll understand how upsetting it is. And I was fairly clever at school, but I didn't particularly like being there because of the bullying. Around the time I was in the junior school, I had a hamster. I had a couple of hamsters actually. The first one I had was called Ginger. I think I had another one called Pepper, and then we had a few more. And I also got some little guinea pigs called Toffee and Humbug. Humbug was a long-haired black and white guinea pig who was just gorgeous. Toffee was a short-haired brown guinea pig, and he actually died fairly soon after we'd got him, unfortunately. So we were just left with Humbug, called Humbug because he kind of looked like a mint humbug. So yeah, life carried on for a number of years. I went to school, I kept getting bullied, but it wasn't awful. I had some good friends, which was lucky. And then in 1999, all of a sudden, my mum announced to us that she was pregnant again, which was very unexpected. And I was very pleased to find that I had another little sister who I treated like a doll, probably. I think I dressed her up, I did her hair. But yeah, I was so excited to have another sister. And this was Rebecca. That's me trying to look happy. I don't know why I have wiggly arms, but you know, there we go. So, in the year 2000, I left my primary school and went to a bigger senior school, which was actually just down the road. We call it a comprehensive comp. Some places call it senior school or something else, I'm not sure, but that's what we call it anyway. And unfortunately, um, the teasing and the bullying continued, and there were lots of older kids now, especially boys, who seemed to think that it was okay to call me a boff, to call me a nerd, to say that I was fat, and it did really get me down. There was also a time when some older boys pushed me down the stairs. Um, and I will just remember the pain that was there because it was really painful. I didn't tell anybody because I didn't want anyone to know, and I thought if I told on them it would just cause more trouble. When, you know, thinking about it now, I should have just told someone what was happening. And, you know, that is the advice I would give to anyone who's being bullied, is to talk to someone, because it's not right. However, I did have a lovely group of girlfriends, and we used to do all sorts of stuff together, going to the cinema, going bowling, going to the beach, and basically they were the only thing that made school nice for me, to be honest. If I hadn't had them, I would not have been going to school, I don't think. So life was okay. I was getting on well at school apart from the bullying, and then all of a sudden when I was 15, I got ill with what we thought was just perhaps a flu or something like that. But it continued. It went over Christmas. I didn't go back to school after Christmas, and I was tired all the time. I was in pain, so many other symptoms. And after a few months, I finally saw a paediatrician who diagnosed me with ME. And after a while of having ME, I developed depression and an eating disorder. This is the black dog, supposedly, that symbolises depression. And it does just feel like there is this whole black cloud over you. Everything looks grey. You can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's a really horrible place to be. In 2006, things got to a point where they were pretty bad. Um, I had taken a number of overdoses, my weight was going down. Basically, I was pretty unwell and ended up in a adolescent unit for psychiatric help, and I was there for 8 months. It was really difficult, I must admit. You know, I'm not going to lie, but I also made some amazing friends there and got the help that I needed. And I wouldn't change it. You know, it was part of my life that was really important. I came out 8 months later and decided that I wanted to go back to college to try and do something with my life. So, yep, I applied to college to do a childcare course that would allow me to work with children and young people in nurseries and schools and things like that. I absolutely loved it, made some lovely friends. We had placements in all sorts of childcare settings, which were really good fun. And yeah, it's the best thing I've ever done so far, I think. It really helped me concentrate on something that wasn't my illness or depression. And yeah, it really helped me get back on track. While I was at college, I started learning to drive. This looks absolutely nothing like the car I learnt in. I learnt in a little Nissan Micra, which was pretty much falling apart, but we got it for an absolute bargain and it did me really well. I managed to pass my test first time, which I'm really proud of because I honestly thought I'd failed. My parking was terrible, but I surprised myself and passed. After college, I left college in the summer of 2009, and then in the autumn I went to Portsmouth Uni. I was studying childhood and youth studies. I was studying there, and the first few months were great. I met some new friends. We went out partying. This is me with all my junk that I had to take down with me. The car was jam-packed. Unfortunately, after the first Christmas that I was at Pompey, things just seemed to go downhill after that. I wasn't enjoying my course. I didn't like where I was living. I started to get very down again. And in the end, we decided that it was better if I moved back home and just started again, because it really wasn't for me. Moving back home was definitely the right thing to do. My mood improved, and I just started feeling a lot better about things again. And I actually applied to go back and work at the school that I had been at as a child. And I got a job as an LSA, which is a learning support assistant. And that's someone that helps people who have learning difficulties and behaviour problems. I also started studying again with the Open University, and I was studying a degree in psychology, which suited me really well. I worked part-time at the school and then studied part-time for my degree. Everything was going really well. I was getting good grades, I was enjoying my work, and then suddenly in February 2012 I came down with what I thought was a stomach bug that basically did not get better. I started losing a lot of weight, I couldn't keep food down, and I was really, really unwell. This carried on for 2012, and then in the summer things kind of came to a real head. I got admitted to hospital. I'd lost a lot of weight through not being able to eat properly, um, and it just got to the point where I couldn't be at home anymore because I was getting too ill, and I had to go into hospital to be fed through a tube that went up my nose and down into my stomach. It's called an NG tube, and I was there for about 6 weeks being fed through that, which, wasn't the most pleasant experience, but it was needed at the time to kind of get me back on track. It did help to sort my stomach out a bit and just give it a bit of space to heal while I was still getting some nutrition. Then in November 2012, I finally came back home again, which was very strange after being in hospital for so long. And I just had to spend some time building myself back up, and just kind of, finding myself again. Being in hospital for a long time is very difficult, and you start to lose who you are. You're seen as a patient, so I had to find Jenny again. In 2013, I managed to go back to work part-time, but still, it was going back. And that was at the school again as a learning support assistant. I also started driving again because I'd had to stop for quite a while when I got ill because I was too ill. So I got a new car and started driving, which was fab. things started like getting back to normal a bit. Work was going quite well. My health was a bit better. I was still having problems, but you know, it was a lot better than it had been. I started dating someone, which I hadn't been able to do for as long as I could remember. Unfortunately, that didn't last too long. Um, I got a bit sad about it, but you know, you learn from these things and they have to happen. In January 2014, I was contacted by Beat, which is the UK's largest eating disorder charity, um, asking me if I would like to take part in a Cosmopolitan article about eating disorders, which I said yes to. And I had to go to London for a photo shoot, which was just amazing. I felt like a celebrity. I was trying on all sorts of different clothes. I had my hair and makeup done. I had loads of photos taken, and it was just a lot of fun. But as my health seems to like to do, it didn't last for long. Um, and at the end of January, this is meant to say January 2014, but for some reason I've put 12, so just imagine that it says 2014. I ended up back in A&E in severe pain. I was put on drips and had tests and scans and everything like that. And in the end, they took my appendix out, although they then found there wasn't anything wrong with it, but at least I'll never get appendicitis. I managed to gain some strength back after my operation, but things were still not good. In February, I managed to host a massive fundraising night for Beat. We hired a local golf club, we had a few live bands playing, we had a massive raffle, collected lots of money. That's meant to be a collecting tin. I don't actually know what it looks like, but you know. I think we raised about £1,200 in the end, which was just amazing considering I felt so ill. In April, I found out that I had gallstones, which we thought could possibly be causing all the pain I was in and making me feel so ill. So I was admitted back to hospital again. And by this point, I'm actually getting quite used to the hospital and knowing where everything is, which isn't probably the greatest place to be in. But I was admitted back. Actually, I was admitted back several times, and then in the end, I had another operation to remove my gallbladder. Then in May 2014, so not that long ago, I had another amazing experience where I was invited to the Houses of Parliament by Beat for the volunteer work I've done so far. I was nominated for a volunteer award, and we had a ceremony in the Houses of Parliament, which was crazy, amazing. I went in my wheelchair with my dad, my mum, and my little sister Rebecca, um, and it was really surreal going inside the Houses of Parliament, walking past politicians that I knew I'd seen on the telly, I didn't win, but it was a great day. Then in June 2014, so last month, I had another opportunity through Beat to be on BBC Radio Berkshire. I was on the Anne Diamond show, which was on, I think it started at 10 o'clock. I was on about 10:30 for 40 minutes, basically talking about my experiences with eating disorders, talking about Beat and what they do. Anne Diamond was lovely. She made me feel at ease, and I'd definitely do it again. And that brings us up to where I am today. We've got plans to go to Center Parcs, and I'm hoping to go back to college in September. So perhaps I'll do another little Draw My Life, in a few months when there's been more stuff happening. Thank you for watching. Yes, that's all of you that are watching this now. I really appreciate you watching my videos. I've not been doing this for long, so thank you. And I will see you again very soon.